Let's let the sound of this next bell take us to the deepest place within us. Let's stand for our first couple of songs.
Yeah, gratitude, everybody. We have gratitude that we're here today. 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe in spirit, forever and expanding. God is all there is. Everything is God. I believe in goodness, eternal kindness. God is all there is. So it is. I believe that life is precious in its fullness. God is all there is. Everything is God. We are all connected. His Spirit. God is all there is. Everything is God. I believe. I believe. Spirit acts upon our prayers directly.
Friends, while you're on your feet, please turn to one another and offer the Namaste greeting. Namaste. Namaste to our musicians. Namaste to our tech team in the back, Jesus and Brian. Namaste to our love streamers. Namaste, Ethel. Namaste, everyone. All right, and as you take your seat, if you'll also take a moment to please silence your cell phones or whatever devices you have that make noise. And grand rising, beloveds. My name is Reverend Elizabeth Raleigh Hogue, and I am the spiritual leader here. And I use she, her gender pronouns, and the land upon which we gather is the unceded territory of the Chumash and Salinan people. Welcome to the Awakening Ways Center for Spiritual Living, where all that we ask is that you remain open to the possibility of changing your entire life by changing your mind. This service has been designed especially for you. Welcome home. We have been waiting for you. And we have an affirmation for today. I invite you to please repeat after me. I am a mystic.
I am a mystic.
I intuitively perceive the truth.
I intuitively perceive the truth.
Without mental process.
Without mental process.
I arrive at spiritual realization.
I arrive at spiritual realization.
And so it is.
And so it is.
All right, and while Susan makes her way up for the Ernest Holmes reading, you can come on up. And the opening prayer, we have some birthdays. I think we have a birthday in the room today. And also, are there any other August birthdays in the room? Hey, Gio. Oh, Joe, okay, Joni. All right, Friday's your birthday. So I wondered if the musicians would be willing to do an impromptu happy birthday song for us. Me, 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 me.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear birthday girl. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Jami.
My name is Susan Jones, and I am your practitioner for the day today. Thank you. And so every Sunday, every practitioner who stands up here reminds everyone in the room and on Zoom or Facebook or however you're tuning in about the power of prayer. We are an active, prayerful community. And I would imagine that every person in this room has received some healing of some sort through the power of prayer. And so there's several ways that you can receive prayer from the Soul Support Team, which is 12 ministers and practitioners. You can write a prayer request. There are prayer request forms in your bulletin. They are also over at the table, and there's a little box you can put them in. You can email us if you're at home right now and you have a prayer request. Just send it to info@awakeningways.org and just write prayer request in the subject line. You can meet with a practitioner or a minister and do a deeper dive. All of our information is in the Sunday bulletin here, all our phone numbers if you want to do that. And at the end of the service, I'll be available in the lobby for a short 3-minute miracle, we call it. And also, Kristen Barnhart is holding the high watch for us today. She is keeping this entire moment, this entire service in prayer and holding us all in that prayer. So that's what's happening. Now, I have this great reading from Ernest Holmes, and I have to tell you, I think that I was divinely guided to this reading, so I really want you to tune into this because this is good, okay? So you can close your eyes or not. I'm going to then follow this reading with a prayer. If one would take time, once a day at least, to let go of all that is not true and lay hold of reality, let go of doubt, distrust, worry, condemnation, and fear, and lay hold of life in its expressions of beauty, truth, and wholeness, their mental congestion would be healed. It is the static, fixed, inflexible outlook which produces a tendency on the part of the body and its muscles and functions to become tense and underactive. Hold steadfastly to the thought that all of life is in a state of eternal flow. Relax your thought and allow the free flow of the life essence in and through you, and your body will respond to its healing activity. And so that healing life essence, that is the divine. That is the creator of all that there is. That creator birthed each and every one of us into existence. And as we were birthed, we were given the gift of the magnificent qualities of that which birthed us. And so all of God's qualities are available to us. They live in the cells of our body. They live in our minds. They operate in every aspect of our lives. And so I know that that power and presence is active and available right here and now in this moment. And I know that everything that occurs here today is divinely guided. I know that the words that Reverend Elizabeth speaks are words that are from the divine mind. And I know that every ear that hears those words is listening from the mind of the divine. And I know that the result is healing. I know and declare for each person here and each person who is tuned in that there is a healing going on. And I know that every note of music is a balm to our souls. It is a blessing. It is a healing vibration for each and every person, including those who make the music. And I know that every person here is exactly where God wants them to be right here and right now. And so there's not another thing I need to say, but just release this prayer into that divine law. And together we say, and so it is.
Gonna be a transformation in your heart and soul. Gonna be a transformation, baby, now that you know. Expand your consciousness, 'cause it makes you feel whole. Gonna be a transformation down in your soul. Remember when we were downhearted, didn't have nowhere to go, but the wisdom of insecurity, just knowing that we know. Then something starts happening, feels like you're on a roll. There's gonna be a transformation down in your soul. just like a river keeps on wanting to flow, keeps on advancing with a wisdom you know. Time has its wisdom, and the love is the love. Love is forever, baby, down in your soul. Gonna be a transformation, baby, down in your soul. Gonna be a transformation now that you know. Expand your consciousness and watch the love grow. There's gonna be a transformation down in your soul. Yeah, there's gonna be a transformation down in your soul. Gonna be a transformation, baby, now that you know. Get used to confidence, 'cause it makes you feel whole. There's gonna be a transformation down in your soul. Do-do-do, 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 do-do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do, 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 down that you know. La 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 la, 'cause it makes you feel whole. There's gonna be a transformation down in your soul. There's gonna be a transformation right down in your soul. One more. Gonna be a transformation, baby, down in your soul.
Praise the Lord!
Woo! All right. Wow. Beautiful. Let's give them some more love. Woohoo! Yes. I feel that transformation already happening down in my soul. Woo! Oh, wow. Thank you for opening our hearts. Our hearts are open and we are here and all of us ready and available. Raise your hand if you're ready and available to receive this message. All right. Some of you are not. That's okay too. You'll decide when you hear it, I guess, okay? And that's fine. If you just came in, I'm Reverend Elizabeth Raleigh Hogue, and I'm the spiritual leader here, and it is such a joy to be with you here today. The first Sunday in August, wow, here we are in the second half of the year, right? Amazing. And so the Seed of Awakening for August is Unstatus Quo. And now the talk title for today, this is a really fun one, and interesting, I guess. Fun might not be the right word, but it's Taboo Topics. Ooh. And so this is really us kicking off the month of Unstatus Quo by talking a little bit about these taboo topics in spiritual communities. So I'm sure you have some ideas already spinning in your mind about what kind of taboo topics could there be that Reverend Elizabeth never discusses from the pulpit, right? Or none of the ministers. You rarely hear it, right? So we're going to dive into that. And so for the month of August, Brian's laughing in the back. Brian, do not scare me. This month, our spiritual community is really embarking on this journey of awakening by challenging the status quo and exploring these taboo topics that are often avoided in spiritual discussions. And so we can move from status quo to status grow by talking about these things and shining the light upon them and really getting to the presence of, wow, I can rethink my perspective and recognize that spirit is right in the midst of this taboo topic. Yes? And so there's a call for us to move away from maintaining the current state of affairs and actually moving into a space where we are envisioning a world of peace, a world of justice, a world of celebrating the oneness and and breaking that cycle of repetition. This means we're not just preparing for the next pandemic, or we're not just preparing for, the next war or whatever it is, right? I said it. And the shadow side of spirituality is really highlighted by emphasizing the importance of embracing the wholeness of humanity. All of this stuff is happening, whether we like it or not, right? All of these things are happening. This is a part of being human, and this is a part of our experience. And so we don't need to stick our heads in the ground like an ostrich and pretend like it's not happening, or like, oh, blah, 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 I can't hear you, I can't hear you, I don't see you, I don't see you, it's not happening. If I don't acknowledge it, it's not real. Well, that's, come on. We're facing this stuff, right? And we have a great book of the month to help us, which for you, how many of you tend to be on the pragmatic side? Show of hands. Yeah, I know who you are. Thank you. This book is for you. This book is called When Spirituality Disconnects Us from What Really Matters. The title of the book is actually called Spiritual Bypassing. And so this is no joke. So this is our book of the month this month, and it's really going to address your pragmatic concerns, my friends. And it's really good for us who tend to not be as pragmatic, What's the opposite of pragmatic anyway? What? No. What's that? Impulsive? Okay, wow. All right, I'm just going to move on from there. Just pretend like that didn't happen. That's the opposite, right? And so it's really a good opportunity for us who tend to be on the less pragmatic side to get clear and have established balance, yes? Because we don't want to be swinging too far in this other way. My husband calls it rainbows and sunshine and unicorns and butterflies, which I love. And he's always like pulling me down to earth, come on, this is what's happening. And so we have to find that balance, don't we? And sometimes we swing all the way to one side and then all the way to the other, and then we find ourselves in this harmonious middle, which is where we want to be, yes? All right, so that's kind of what we're going to do this month. We're going to swing this way and that way and find ourselves in the beautiful middle. Are you with me? All right. So no topic is off limits as the community seeks to integrate all aspects of human experience, recognizing the true oneness. Actual true oneness requires our acknowledgement and discussion of difficult issues, okay? Now, there are two aspects in knowing what the future holds. And you may have heard this before, but one is that we know that God holds the future. There is a future, and it is divine destiny, you've probably heard, right? And the other is that the future is actually created and co-created by those who have vision. So my future, your future, our future, created and co-created by those who have vision. Therefore, we need to pull out from the world of appearances and articulate the world that we want to live in, and then begin to step into that world by us naming and claiming that vision. Yes? All right, so we see things that are occurring, and we can find ourselves in the world of appearances and situations that we do not like, because there are some, or is it just me, right? You find yourself, maybe you get a diagnosis, maybe something happens, maybe you experience a loss. There's so many. Maybe there's addiction, or, it could be anything, loss of a home, loss of financial status, loss of whatever. A lot of it is around grief and loss, right? And so any of these major changes or things in life that we wouldn't really choose for ourselves, happen. And then we're called to act as if we chose it so that we can move forward with love and grace and feeling that power. But the point being that we can be in the midst of the circumstance and name and claim and vision for the world that we want to see and experience and walk into that world. That's the statement, show me the finished kingdom through which I walk. Show me the kingdom. So you've all heard the kingdom of heaven is within us, right? Well, yeah, the kingdom of heaven is within us. And we have the power to dream and to envision and to imagine a reality, imagine a world that works for everyone. Just imagine. I mean, if everyone is imagining that, then we start to walk into it, right? I always remember when I learned how to water ski, and my friend was water skiing, Dr. David Bruner, and he was like just so good at it, and he was going all across the delta, and I thought, well, how does he do that? And his husband said, oh, well, it's super easy. You just look where you want to go. Look where you want to go. And that's such a holy statement, right? That is so holy and so powerful. And so I finally was able to get up and I just zoom like super fast and then zoom super fast. It was amazing. And I realized this is true for us too. This is true for our spiritual nature and for us envisioning the world that we want to live in. Now, we can get so caught up because we have feelings. We have feelings. We humans have great feelings, right? And so we can get so caught up in the circumstances and the situation and in the world of appearances, but that's what this is saying. We need to step back from the world of appearances, and what Susan read this morning was so perfect. And just, stop for a moment and consider the truth. And consider the highest truth. What is the highest idea? What is Spirit's highest idea of itself as my life? What is Spirit's highest idea of itself as my experience unfolding? Yes? And then we live into that and we walk in that. Show me the finished kingdom through which I walk. And it is the vision that I have been thinking and speaking and declaring in my life. And then it is so. So I heard at some point, be careful where you're going, because you just might get there, right? So if you're saying you want this particular thing in your life, but you're looking over here, where are you going to go? Over here, yes? I envision peace and love and joy and squirrel, right? I envision humanity's spiritual magnificence, and everyone is becoming mighty and magnificent and wonderful in the glory of God, like heaven has come to earth and people are awake and aware. And, hey, stupid driver, what are you doing? Right? And then you're just over here. But it's okay too, because you can just recalibrate and come back to your center and continue to walk in that path, because I know that this is truly the path that you want to walk. But we're not denying that things are happening and occurring that we aren't too happy about, right? So we're starting to think about our lives and what's most important to us, and then we take the opportunity to describe the world that we want to live in. How often do you do that? How often do you take time to describe the world that you want to live in? We're so trained, we're so tuned in to describe the things that we dislike, and we're so focused on the things that we dislike, and guess what? That creates more things for you to dislike. What would you like instead? Because the universe is listening. The universe is always listening, What would you like instead? And begin to think about that, and sure enough, your life will move in that direction. Are you with me? I can tell. I can tell you are. And so you start by maybe describing a healthcare system that treats the poor and the rich precisely the same. Or maybe you think about a legal system wherein brown and black people are granted the same amount of justice as rich white people. It's critical to describe the world you want to live in instead of fighting the world you don't want, because that is unproductive. And this is so true for the world in which we live, and it's so true for ourselves in our lives. Why do I have this big forehead? I know it's a tiny thing, but But can you see how I would keep creating this negative energy about why me and and I don't like it, and what can I do about it? And, can I get some implants in my hairline or whatever? I'm just being silly, but you get what I'm saying, yes? I don't need that. I'm very happy with my forehead if you just tuned in. Okay. You want to begin to embrace, describe, and walk in the direction of the world in which you want to live. We see a world that works for all. What does that mean? I don't know, but let's try to imagine it, right? Because that opens us up. That opens our minds. Well, I wonder what a world that would work for Kristen looks like. Or I wonder what a world that would work for Frank looks like, or Yvonne, or Gio. What does that look like? And we begin to open our minds and open our hearts and begin to move into that beautiful presence of what else is possible, right? Where everything is being born into form. All right, so are you ready to make this a daily habit of yours? Yeah. Start imagining the world in which you want to live. And you can start with imagining the you in which you want to live, right? It's you. Like, how do you want your home life to be? How do you want your work life to be? How do you want whatever experience you're currently living in to be? Was it a B? So this week, friends, we begin talking about taboo topics. Taboo! All right, so it's such a transformative journey to begin to look at these areas of our lives that maybe we don't talk about, and to let go of that shame, dissolve the shame or any area that would have us think we are less than lovable or less than period, right? Because we are very deserving for all that our deepest desires are, just by our birthright. Like, we were birthed into existence on the planet at this time, and we deserve, each one of us, to live a life of love, a life of connection and harmony and whatever our deepest desires are. And so as we begin to move and walk in this direction, these other things come up, and how do we bring that in? So a good way to do it is to go, how has this come to heal me? Because oftentimes we just want to push something away, or we dislike something, but this has come into my life. I'm experiencing this right now. How has it come to heal me? There's a way. And so I'm open to whatever that is. And as we become open to that, we let the healing begin. Yes? And healing is revealing more God, more spirit, more divine in all aspects of our lives, And so there are so many topics not addressed in spiritual communities, and the underlying belief is that people want to feel good and hear about happy things and be inspired. Well, why can't these taboo topics do the same thing for us, right? If this is true, what I'm saying, that we can shine the light of truth upon them and have us have a healing. Well, yeah, it must be true then. So I think that is kind of like a spiritual bypass, right? It's like we think we can't talk about it because nobody wants to hear about it. But honestly, I learned in 12-step programs that hearing what happened for people and what it was like when they hit their rock bottom, that moment, and then having that moment of clarity, the holy moment when God speaks and they heard it, even if they didn't believe in God and they knew that there was some power greater than themselves, some power greater than that addict, that stepped in to show them the way because you had other plans. The addict had other plans, yes? And so hearing these stories was magical for me because it was an unexpected blessing. And there were mystical moments every time because I realized I was not alone. I was not alone. And there was a union. There was a sense of belonging. And there was a sense of wholeness and connection. And it was like, it's not just me. I'm not a total loss. I'm not a complete wacko. I'm not an uncurable problem. There's nothing wrong with me, right? And and I have an opportunity. And that's when I learned, hey, it turns out we had a spiritual malady, and coming into this 12-step program offered me a spiritual awakening as a result of working the steps. And so it's powerful, right? And so this makes me think about mystical moments. Now, we're in week 2 of our second to last class for our ministers in training here, Susan and Delon. Let's give them some love. Yeah. And so the class is mysticism, cosmic consciousness. And so the students each week are sharing their mystical moments, and they're so powerful, and they're also so attainable by all of us. And it's such a powerful thing to recognize and remember these moments where we knew, and we knew that we knew, because those are the moments of our high resolve, yes? And those are the moments that will carry us through the tougher times, right? And so a mystic is one who intuitively perceives truth and, without mental process, arrives at spiritual realization. Now, anytime you had a moment of awe, I like to call it awe-spiration. You had a moment of awe. You had a flash of illumination. You had a divine sparkle. That's really more me, right? A divine sparkle. You had this divine sparkle. Susan refers to them as moments that take her breath away. Powerful, right? You know those moments. She said, it's moments that take my breath away. So well described. Now, intuition is spirit within us, and so therefore a mystic is one who perceives the truth without any process of reasoning or mental process at all, and arrives at spiritual realization. It's a moment, like a moment where you knew, and you knew that you knew, and you remember the moment even today like it just happened because it was so powerful and it was so transformative for you in your life. It took your breath away. And so you remembered it. Time stopped in that moment, and you stepped into the eternal vastness of the divine. And there was nothing else happening, just this amazing embodiment of what was and what you were learning, whatever that eternal verity was. Maybe it was a moment where you found or discovered love for the first time, or a moment when you actually discovered self-love, you know? I remember those moments. Those were some amazing ones. But time stopped. You had no thought. Can you relate? There was no thought. There was no thinking about the to-do list or the other things going on, the bills or any of that, the appointments. No thought. You were in the present, in the presence. Now, Ernest Holmes tells us that just as instinct guides the animal, so would intuition guide us humans if we would allow it to operate through us. And so it's always speaking to us, in other words. The divine is always speaking to us, but are we listening? Or do we think we have it figured out? Do we think we have a better plan? Do we think we know more than the divine? Susan's smiling. Right? Do we think that? Sometimes we actually do. It's not conscious, though. And so we're called to move into this space of being present and available to intuitively perceive the presence of the divine and know that I know, and have that experience in my body because it feels strong for me. It feels anchored. It feels knowing and powerful, and it's like you can stand like this and know that you know, right? Yeah. And being in that space, sometimes we need to have a little bit longer of meditation. Maybe we need to expand on our spiritual practice. Maybe we need to sing a little more or do a little bit more prayer or listen, because sometimes spiritual practice no longer resonates, right? And you have to do something different. Maybe you need to just listen to a song and get grounded in the song, or walk out into nature and get grounded into nature, or whatever it is for you. Be with the trees, and allow yourself to quiet the static, I always think of a snow globe and how there's all those particles of snow when you shake it up. And that's like us, right? We get shook up. We're all shook up. and then you put the snow globe down and the snow pieces start to settle down, and they settle down to the ground, and pretty soon there's just a few little floaters, and then those settle down, and alas, we have peace, right? Peace. And so Ernest Holmes also tells us that some people confuse mysticism with psychism, and it's very important for us to make this distinction. So the highest and best that we have in civilization, like music, art, religion, philosophy, poetry, science, and so forth, all of that is the result of the mystic sense, which has been perceived by a few in each age. Now, mysticism is not only for a few, okay? You're all mystics. All of us. We're mystics. We intuitively have perceived the truth, and we know that we know. Are you with me? Yeah. And so the psychic capacity at best deals only with human thought. So it can read subjective pictures and tendencies, and that's it. So there's a difference, right? Now, a mystic does not read human thought, but senses the thought of God. Cosmic consciousness is an awareness of our union with the whole and the unity of the whole. And mysticism is the perception of wholeness in everything without fragments. There are no fragments, right? So I love what DeLon says. He shared that he practices this thing he calls whole vision viewing. And so he kind of takes a backward step and gets the whole picture rather than zeroing in on one piece. He envisions the whole picture like a true mystic. Well done, DeLon. And Susan, well done. Yeah. All right, so what does that have to do with taboo topics, Reverend Elizabeth? Well, I'm so glad you asked. So you can bring your mystical self into the taboo topics. Bring that mystical self, that part of you that knows and you know that you know, into the conversation when you begin to look at the taboo topics in your life. Now, there are some taboo topics for my life that I know I never discuss up here, and I'm going to share now. So one of those is that I struggled for a long time with food and body image. When I was younger, I actually had an eating disorder that they were calling some form of bulimia. I know, right? Who, me? Yeah. So one day I fainted, hadn't eaten in 3 days, and I fainted, and we had to go to the emergency room, and I was like, hey, look, I just need to eat. It's funny now because it's like, why was I doing that, right? And why am I feeling like I never want to talk about it? But the reason to talk about it today is that I struggled with food and body image when I was younger because I had this eating disorder, and I was trying to have a sense of control in my life because there were things that were happening that were out of my control, and I was becoming aware of that. And this was like the one thing that I could control. But one of the very interesting things for me was that I wouldn't eat, and I was down to like 103 pounds, right? And so 146 today. So you can imagine 40 pounds lighter, right? 43 pounds lighter. I wasn't eating, right? And so malnourished. But anyway, where's I going with that? Oh, 103 pounds, but I would look in the mirror and I would go, God, you're so fat. Yeah, I had problems, right? There's a mental problem. There's something going on. There's something happening for me. And so that changed after that visit to the emergency room. And that totally transformed because it was like, I got to eat, And then, because they were starting to give me the education about what happens. And I don't know, that was a big thing around that time too. And I remember seeing some stuff on TV and it was like, oh gosh, I think that's me. And so anyway, I moved through that, right? What's a taboo topic? It's so powerful to be able to move through these things though, Like I was there and then that transformed. And so But then it led into later on, a few years later in life, struggling with addiction, right? It's totally related. Food addiction, binge and purge, whatever. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. So, taboo. I wanted to escape the anxiety that I was feeling before I knew God, right? This is before I had the God of my understanding, when I was atheist. And so I wanted to escape the anxiety I was feeling. Now, little did I know that the drinking was making it worse, right? But it really provided temporary relief. Didn't it? Yes. For those of you that know. Man, it took away the anxiety, and but later it was worse. And then I began to realize that I actually have a large appetite. Now, many addicts can relate to this. Anybody that has an addictive personality, more is better. Yes? Hey, more is better. Now, I still have a large appetite, and I honestly have to watch myself because I'm a person that could probably eat a whole pizza if I wanted to, or a whole box of See's candy and then feel real bad about it later. I know. I don't do that. I haven't done that for a long time, but I'm just saying, right? And then I also had some struggles where when I was younger, I really wanted to fit in. I wanted to fit in and be a part of so badly that I actually gave up kind of who I was in order to belong. So I had such a need to have this sense of belonging and roots that I was just becoming like a chameleon, trying to fit in wherever I found myself. And eventually that got really old, and it was so unsatisfying, just like the drinking, right? Trying to fill some hole that can't be filled in that regard, in that way. And so I was 32 years old when I had my first mystical experience, and it was a moment of clarity. It was my moment of clarity when God said, Elizabeth, it's time to stop drinking. And I didn't know how, and I also didn't know at the time that I was having this conversation with God. But to my surprise, I replied to it by saying, show me how. Because I can't do it. And it showed me how. And so from that moment on, I listened and I answered. Now be careful, because that's how I ended up here in front of you today. It's beautiful though, right? I mean, I'm joking. I love it here. This is like every day in every way I get to be more of myself, and I get to let go of who I'm not. But I can shine the light on those aspects and actually feel proud of what I've overcome and feel proud of who I was and who I am now. And all of that because I'm listening to my intuition. I am listening to what Spirit is trying to say through me, to me, as me. Yes? We all have the voice of Spirit. Some of us choose not to listen, but it's constantly speaking to us, right? It's constantly guiding us. Go to this place, call this person, show up here, show up there, play your guitar, go for a hike, attend a Gourmets for God event, read this book, teach this class. That's what's happening for me. Spirit, as the spiritual leader, I'm guided by Spirit. It's not like I'm just saying, well, this is how it's going to be, X, Y, Z. It's like, Spirit, what does our community need right now? What is the highest calling for us all? And then taking the steps with that, right? And we do the same thing in our lives, and it's so beautiful. And so food and body image, addiction, large appetite, wanted to fit in, and then I had my first mystical experience. So all of that led to me becoming more of who I am. And I'm grateful. Like, had I not had those experiences, and I honestly look back sometimes and think, wow, I was in an awkward place, because if I knew then what I knew now, but I didn't. And so, of course I would behave that way, right? Like, I didn't know. But today, I know. And now, for anyone else who also knows, we get to be the emissaries of light. We get to be the emissaries of peace, because we know that whatever is going on in your life, that it's here for your healing, and that you are transforming even right now. Even if you're just like, you can't stand it and it's horrible and awful, something magnificent is happening. You know, I heard early on in my spiritual awakening also that sometimes we think that things are falling apart. Have you ever felt that way? Like I felt like Spirit takes the divine handbag and just dumps it out on the bed. That's like my life, you know. But when things appear to be falling apart, they're actually falling together. They're actually falling together. Like you weren't listening, right? Like you weren't listening, so Spirit had to, yeah? Shiva the destroyer came in and just created havoc, right? Just dumped out the divine bag, suitcase, handbag, whatever it is. And now you're putting the stuff that you really need back in, right? Putting it back in, putting it back together. And it's going to be brand new. And that's transformation. Yes? That is transformation. Because things fall apart. And then you can't quite put it all back together like Humpty Dumpty. You can't put it back together the way it was. It's going to be something brand new. That is exactly how this community has continued moving forward, yes? Since almost 3 years ago, right? Yeah. Ooh. All right, so what are some things that you've noticed nobody ever talks about in spiritual community? Politics. Spiritual bypassing. The problem with suffering. War. What about sex and money? Were you guys afraid to even say those? Yeah. People are more closed off about money than sex. So people will tell me all about their sex life, but they won't tell me the balance in their bank account, right? It's secret. Poverty. Homelessness, the unsheltered, the unhoused. What was that? Child abuse. Mental illness. And why? There's a stigma for all of these. Yes? Some kind of stigma. And so we're dissolving that stigma for this month. And we're going to be looking at all of these as much as we can and looking at having it be okay. This is the energy that we're creating. There's a mental health issue. Yeah, join the club, right? Hello. Mental health issues, you're not alone. That's the thing, you're not alone. We think we're alone and we make ourselves separate and we isolate because we're afraid that if people find out about us, and that is tied to shame, which is what we let go of last month. So here we are, right? Open, vulnerable, ready to accept and receive the love that is so needed. We need this. We need each other. We need each other to survive. All right, so fear is something that's never talked about. And I remember, I had my spiritual awakening, and then I went to rehab for 28 days. And then I came out of rehab and had like a re-entry into the world. And then shortly thereafter, I found CSL. And I found CSL, and it was amazing. And I started attending, and I kept going. And I noticed, at some point when I entered into ministerial school, like 4 years later, nobody was really talking about fear. Like everything was inspiring and it was great, but I wanted to know, do you, like the ministers that came up or whoever was speaking on a Sunday, do you ever experience fear? I was like, because it seems like you're some kind of superhuman person or not even a non-person. You're like some kind of superhero. Do you ever experience fear? And so I remember I felt lonely and I wanted to isolate myself because I felt fear and I felt it often. And I thought, oh man, this, maybe there's something wrong with me, right? Because it was early on. And so in my first ministerial school class with Dr. Edward Fillion, I asked him straight up, that was the question. And I can't even remember what the class was, but it was unrelated to feeling fear. And I said, do you ever experience fear? It was so important for me to know this. And he said, well, yes, Elizabeth, I experience fear all the time. For example, when I come down these steps, there is a good chance I will fall and make a fool of myself, and everybody will laugh at me. And in that moment, I connected with him, and it was like, okay, you are human too. And so here we are, friends. I'm human, you're human, and here we are in our humanity together, and there is no stigma here. And if there's something going on for you in your life, I encourage you to lean in. Lean into us. Lean into practitioners and ministers, and be real, and let us hold you and know the truth for you. And we'll continue to hold and know the truth for each other. But this experience of him telling me, yes, he experienced fear, that was enough for me to keep going. And so there's a Hawaiian saying that says, "Amama ua noa," "Amama ua noa," and that means the taboo is lifted. And so, "Amama ua noa," please repeat after me. "Amama ua noa." "Amama ua noa." "Amama ua noa." "Amama ua noa." All right. The taboo is lifted. Now, anytime you find yourself maybe getting stuck in a space where, you think you can't share or you can't be 100% real, this happens also for ministers a lot, because they will isolate because, they don't want other ministers or practitioners to know if they have some kind of sickness or they've had a diagnosis. And I think that is just horrible. Let us love you, right? Let us hold you, and let us hold space for you as you experience this. This is not easy, And so don't isolate. Now, I read something cool that I wanted to share with you as we begin to wrap it up. And that was Gene Roddenberry wrote, "Space, the Final Frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise, its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before." And the Wizard of Oz affirms, "Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road." And Science of Mind states, "One alone in consciousness with the infinite is a complete majority." In the concept of the high mysticism of Science of Mind, one may come to see one point of light as all points of light, and all points of light as one point of light. So in the many, there is one, and in the one, there is many. You with me? Look around. There's many, but there's one point of light, and there's one point of light that scatters into the many. Yes? Isn't that cool? So local reality, Amit Goswami, author of God is Not Dead, speaks of the concept of local and non-local reality. Now, local reality is our present moment awareness. Non-local reality is a realm of dimensions of awareness beyond that of our present reality. So there's multiple realities happening right now, in other words. Whoa, try to wrap your mind around that. And Goswami refers to do, be, have. Do, be, do. That's what we would say in ministerial school. Now, Emma Curtis Hopkins spoke of the same concept as Goswami did, only she said, what you be, you see. What you be, you see. So who are you being in the world? What you be, you see. And Thomas Troward furthers Goswami and Hopkins' thinking with this philosophy of I am, therefore I can, therefore I will. Goswami, Hopkins, and Troward were all pointing to the same truth, the same reality, the same presence of awareness to which the high mysticism of science of mind presents as well. Woo! And so during the month of August, we're going to continue to explore these taboo topics like trauma, body image, addiction, sex, money, and everything in between. And as we do so, things are going to come up, and we're going to shine the light on these and know that things are coming up for our healing. Things are coming up in our lives so that we can reveal more love and light to them. Yes? And so we do this so that we can actually accept every part of ourselves as the magnificent, multifaceted gems of human beings we all are. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And it's a real thing, right? And so I'm going to invite the musicians to come on up and get ready to have our closing song. And as I do, I'm going to invite you to consider your homework assignment for this week, should you choose to accept it, is to ask yourself some questions. The first question to ask yourself is, what is my story? Like, what is my hero's journey? What have I had to overcome in my life? And what is my greatest triumph? What is my greatest triumph? When did I intuit the divine or experience aspiration? When did I have a mystical moment? What was that? Write it down, contemplate it, share it with your friends, you know? What are some of your mystical moments? If you have remembered a mystical moment and want to share it after the service, please come see me. I would love to hear about it. I love hearing about mystical moments. They're so powerful. And then write about a time when you knew there was a power greater than yourself without a logical explanation. You just knew. And you knew that you knew. And then you're going to share that with a friend. And so to wrap it up, friends, you are a mystic. You're a mystic. This is the power that is here with you during your experience of the taboo topics, amid the things that you aren't proud of or don't want to talk about. But those are also your medals of triumph. Is anybody watching the Olympics these days? All right, cool. So know that we can talk about these topics and we're going to be okay. We're actually going to be thriving and becoming more of who we came here to be, because that's what's up. You're an Olympic gold winner. Own that. Own it. Turn to someone next to you and say, you're a winner. And now turn to someone else. You're a winner. You're a winner. Kristen's a winner. Love streamers, you're a winner. You win. And now I invite everybody to stand up. This is going to be a big energy moment. Everybody, please stand and repeat after me. I won, I won, I won. Woo! All right, be seated and join me in turning within with that winning, triumphant energy, and take that to the space that is within us, where I know and affirm and believe with every fiber of my being that spirit is all that there is. It is all that there ever was, and it is all that there ever will be. And I'm so grateful in this moment to remember this truth and to remember that spirit is here. It's everywhere. It is in me. It is all around me. It is the thing that is always walking with me. It is to the right of me, to the left of me. It is within me. It is above me. It is below me. It is all around me. And there's nowhere that spirit is not. And so as I remember this truth, I remember that the entire manifest universe is the body of God, which means that everywhere I look, I see the divine. I see it in you and you and you and you, and even in this experience that I may not want to be experiencing. And I allow myself to be in it fully, 100%. I am all in. And I know that this is true for each one of us. And as we go forward from here and into the rest of our week, we each know And remember with every fiber of our being that we are not alone. That something wonderful is happening. While the appearance may be that things are falling apart, they are actually falling together. And whatever has had me not want to speak about some specific thing going on in my life, that taboo is lifted. Amama ua noa. There is no stigma. Amama ua noa. I am here and I am living this life because it is my divine birthright to experience love and joy, connection, harmony, peace, abundance. Love, love, love. Amama ua noa. The taboo is lifted. I'm no longer living in illusion. I no longer believe that something is against me. I know that everything that is happening is for my greater good, and I continue to step forward in the co-creative process, allowing the divine and the universe, the divine which is the universe, to literally unfold the path. Out of no way, a way is literally made. That's how it works, and we continue to envision what we would love to see in our own lives and the world that we would love to see. Amama ua noa, the taboo is lifted. And so with great gratitude, I allow this to be, I know it is so, as I release it into the loving and creative action of the law. With great gratitude, I take my hands off of it, and I invite you to help anchor this truth by saying with me, and so it is. Woo! Yeah. Thank you. All right.
Gentle as a rose, and love can conquer any war. You know it's time to take a stand. Brothers and sisters, join hands. We got to let love rule. Transcends all time and space, and love is here on every face. It's time to take a stand. Love rights every wrong. We've got to let love rule.
All right, it's now time for our conscious giving. Would the ushers please come forward? Yes, come on up. We have Betty and Nina as our ushers today. Let's give them some love. These are volunteers in the house. All right, so if you're tuning in on the love stream, you can make a donation by going to paypal.me/awakeningways. If you're in the room and you forgot to bring your cash or a check, you can scan the QR code on the back of your program with your smartphone and go to the site, and you'll be taken to a way to make a donation. And don't worry, if you don't have PayPal, you can still make your donation by entering your credit card info one time only, and it is a secure website. That's the tech in me coming out. So, and if you have given online, you can take your phone and place it over your heart, or just take your hand and place it over your heart. And if you have your gift with you, you can take that and place it over your heart. And please repeat after me. From the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift.
From the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift.
I send it forth to heal and bless and prosper.
I send it forth to heal and bless and prosper.
It is evidence of my faith and my belief.
It is evidence of my faith and my belief.
It does great work in the world.
It does great work in the world.
And returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
God is my source.
God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I
So in this moment, I just give thanks for the gifts, the financial gifts. I give thanks for every person that woke up this morning and said yes to service here at Awakening Ways, because every bit of that helps us be who we are in this spiritual community and in our greater community. We are up to great things, and all of the gifts help us do that. So thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you for each and every blessing here. I release this prayer, I let it go, and so it is.
Thank you. I'll take that. All right. And now we have our announcements angel for today, which is dun 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 dun, Jim Peterson. Woo! There you go.
Should have studied this ahead of time.
Oops, that's okay. No one will know.
Okay. Well, we got several things going on, it turns out. Mark your calendars, first of all. September 29th, it's a Sunday, potluck picnic and dance party in the park. Are we going to be in the same place as last year? Yes. Great. Okay, but instead of having the band play, we're going to just come and dance and party and have a good time. And maybe play a few things unplugged. Okay. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, but it's going to be a little different so we can all have fun and enjoy ourselves. September 29th. Now, every Wednesday, join practitioner Ann Hanline at 8 o'clock on Wednesday mornings every week for an hour of meditation and inspiration. It's at our office at El Camino Real. Real good way to reset your week in the middle of the week. Now, this is almost coming up to a year now. Reverend Elizabeth's taking a group of people to Bali in September of 2025, so 13 months from now. And if you're interested, how many folks have we got so far? 10 so far, and we need 6 more, so come on, let's get with it. Anyway, they're going to Bali, and it's going to be, how long is the trip to? 10 days. All right. So talk to Reverend Elizabeth or anybody about it. It's something we'll be reminding you again and again as we go. Now, the book, you've already stolen everything I wanted to say about it, but there it is. It sounds great. Spiritual bypassing. I think probably it's talking about how we have our spiritual every day or every week or maybe once a month thing that we do, and how we can maybe forget that and get sort of in a rut and just go through the motions and bypass what you're there for. I have to get this book. So anyway, the author, Robert Masters, is a spiritual teacher and a psychotherapist. This is the first book of its kind. We talk about how we use our spiritual practices and abuse them sometimes. So this is really sounds like a great book. I'm going to get a copy before I leave today. It's on sale at the back for $20. Also on sale is the July-August, was it? Yes. Science of Mind magazine for $10. And as always, let's give a great shout out to all of our volunteers in this place.
All right, thank you, Jim. Let's circle up for our benediction and call and response. Okay. I'm coming over here. Oh, yeah? Wow. Okie dokie. All right. Won't you know with me that you are never alone, that God is where you are right now and always, and all that we ever need do is turn within, and it is here we will find we are guided, sustained, directed, and inspired by a source that knows only good. Joyously let us make use of these gifts in all that we think, in all that we say, and in all that we do. Please repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening as me right now.
Something wonderful is happening as me right now.
It is this thing called life.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my pocketbook.
Life is in my pocketbook.
Life is in my relationships.
Life is in my relationships.
Life is everywhere.
Life is everywhere.
I think it.
I think it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I believe it.
I believe it.
I express it.
I express it.
I accept it.
I accept it.
Just the way that it is.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is not.
And just the way that it is not.
Thank you, life.
Thank you, life.
Woohoo!
May I be filled
With love and kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. May you be filled with love and kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy. May we let love